Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Aidan.
I'm Gaynor.
I'm Sophie.
Today we're doing the 8 most disturbing things caught on doorbell camera footage.
Oh.
Now, Gaynor has a story about this. Well, we actually both do, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because we have a Ring doorbell at home.
We had a Ring doorbell on the front and the back door.
Front and the back door, that's top tier security.
Where we lived was an area that was known for crime, car crime, houses. It was quite an affluent area, and a lot of footballers, actors and actresses lived there. And so
obviously they know they've got money.
So everybody had private security, apart from us.
Great. It's like, what happened to us?
Just living life on the edge, who cares?
Yeah. So we were targeted quite a few times in one year, and it was all caught on the Ring doorbell. So there was one particular night when Aidan heard motion at the front door.
Knowing me, I was still awake at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it came up on my phone.
Game.
Yeah, I came up on my phone and I was like, what? I was like, it must be something like a cat walking past or something.
Yeah.
But as I walked down, I walked down the stairs and there was like a shadow, like a black balaclava and everything at the door, because it was like a frosted door type thing, so you could see through but you couldn't see them.
Yeah.
And I just saw like a black balaclava kind of look up and then just like run away from the door. And then
we just stood there like looking at you.
So you came into my room
and told you, and then Dad came walking out with his golf club
in his underpants.
Yeah. But then like 2 days later, or like the day after, we had them like crawling underneath our back door.
So we see him look up and see obviously a shadow of somebody at the top of the stairs, so he ran off. But then it was the following week and it was the motion at the back door, and I thought, oh, here we go. So I looked and you could see there was 4 of them, fully balaclavaed up just like the eyes, and you could see them crawling along the grass to try and go
under the camera so it doesn't buzz. It was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Because at this point, did you have like security where or was it just the Ring doorbell?
It was just the Ring doorbell, one on the front and one on the back, because the thing is, it tells you when somebody's approaching, whereas a burglar alarm, which we had as well, they're already in the house when that goes off.
So it don't make sense, does it really?
No. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd be petrified.
Darren said if I catch them, I'm going to lock them in the cupboard.
Just like lock them in the basement forever.
Just absolutely torture them. Alright, anyway, should we have a look at the most disturbing ones?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be similar.
Yeah.
This clip was captured at 5 in the morning on October 2nd, 2022. In it, 3 men are shown standing in front of this house's front door. They're carrying weapons and wearing masks resembling the ones from the movie The Purge. One of them sees the doorbell camera and immediately puts his hand over it. For a good portion of the video, all you can see is his glove. But for a second, he uncovers the camera, revealing all 3 men up close. They're seen leaned up against the wall and crouching low to the ground, clearly trying to stay out of the view of anyone inside. That's when the homeowner finally wakes up to all the motion-detected notifications on his phone. He pulls up the app, but all he sees is a glove covering the camera. Having not yet seen the earlier footage, he goes on the speaker and tries to identify who's on his front porch.
Hello? Hello?
I wouldn't be saying that.
Hello? Hello?
The men do not respond, so the homeowner called the police. By the time the police arrived, though, the men were gone.
Of course they were.
Yeah.
Many believe they were trying to lure the homeowner into opening the door so they could rob him. But why then not try to convince him to come to the door when he came on the doorbell speaker? It's more likely they were trying to pick the lock while the camera was being covered. What they then planned to do when they got inside is anyone's best guess. This woman had just gotten back from walking her dog. Her doorbell camera shows her starting to take off the dog's leash when she looks over to the right, causing her to quickly pick up her dog and get inside. Immediately, we find out why. A man comes into frame and walks right up to the front door.
Jesus.
He tries the handle, but she managed to lock it just in time. The man then starts putting on gloves, and she also mentioned how he was carrying zip ties. He looks into the house and tries the door handle multiple more times within the next few minutes. Eventually, her neighbor comes outside. To this, the man picks up a nearby garden hose and acts like he's doing yard work. Once the neighbor left, the man walked around to the house's back door.
Camera recording.
He tried forcing the back door open, to which the homeowner locked herself in a room and called the police. In the time it took them to arrive, the man tried breaking in almost every window to the house.
Jesus.
What?
He broke off the screen to one of the back windows, but was ultimately unsuccessful at getting inside. By the time police arrived, he had left.
What crazy.
There wasn't much the police could do by that point.
I'm
The
wondering
homeowner
if
ended
he-
up...
I'm wondering if he was not after breaking into the house. I'm wondering if he's after her.
Oh yeah, but look,
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
like it, doesn't it?
If he's
Yeah.
got zip ties with him and stuff.
Yeah, it looks as though he's like saw her walking the dog and followed her.
Yeah,
Could have
followed
been
her
like a
home.
planned thing. Like you've seen her like quite a few
That's
times.
what
And
I'm
like,
saying. He's been following her.
Yeah, and knows like a routine of like
Like the
walking the
weirdo
dog.
that followed me off the tram.
what would have just ended up being your neighbour?
No, that was her
No, that
neighbour.
was me.
Oh, that was you, wasn't it? Yeah, that
Mine
was
was
you.
a proper
Stumbling
weirdo that followed me.
posting the video to TikTok in the hopes that someone could identify the man.
Surely you
As
would
far as I could
identify from
find.
that.
I know.
Yeah.
Could.
He was like right next to her though,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
10-year-old Graydon Dowland is a kid from Riverton, Utah. It was around 6 p.m. on a night in December. He was alone walking home from basketball practice this night. At some point during his walk, he noticed a 4-door sedan driven by 2 men slowly lurking around behind him. Graydon said he started walking faster when he saw it. Then the car drove up right next to him. The men inside rolled down their windows and told Graydon they had candy in the back seat, trying to entice him inside. This happened only blocks away from his house. He ignored the men and only started to walk even faster away from them. A few seconds pass, and he makes it to his house's front porch. His family's house had a doorbell camera, and as Graydon approached, you're actually able to see the car in the background. He continues to look over at it as he walks up to the front door. He tries the front door handle, but realizes it was locked. At the exact same time, the car's reverse lights turn on and it starts heading towards him.
Oh, bless
I
him.
know.
Graydon yells out and quickly grabs nearby rocks to defend himself.
Oh.
He then runs to his next door neighbor's house. Their door was unlocked, so he let himself in and immediately locked it behind him. The car can then be seen turning around and following him. For the next several minutes, the car lurks around the area waiting for Graydon to come back outside. Police were called and a report was made. Graydon described the men as being in their 30s or 40s with no facial hair. Both Graydon's family and the police have almost no doubt in believing the men were trying to kidnap him that night.
What was his parents doing realistically? He's walking home alone from basketball practice, and then he's come home and they've not, and he's had to go to the neighbour's house instead.
I'm wondering if the mum was inside but the front door was locked and she's not heard him, and then he's run next door. Because he was
Yeah.
obviously expecting...
You didn't really give her much time. You didn't even like knock on or anything.
No, guess not. I think he's probably just panicked, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Thought
I
there's
got-
not enough time to like get my mum to the door. I might as well.
Yeah, because I got followed when I was a kid, and I think I've told you the story. The nerves hit me though. I started running. But I was laughing because I was nervous. So I could hear him getting like closer and closer behind me. In the same situation, I just run to somebody's house and knocked on the door and said, "This man's like following me."
And what happened? So did he just like?
He run off. Yeah, he was obviously aware, but he was hiding in the woods. Like you could see him behind a tree looking. And when it was me and my 3 friends, and when I said somebody's watching us, I said, "Let's just stand up. Don't run. Just stand up and
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
away, and don't let him know that we've
That
seen
you?
him."
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, he had a bike and he threw his bike over the fence and started to chase us. So they started running, and they were like, I was not a fast runner. They got away, but I was nervous and so I was laughing.
Yeah. And when you panicked as well, no, it sounds weird, but like you don't run as fast, do you?
No.
It sounds weird. Like I feel like.
Oh no! If I'm running
slow.
away from something, I'm like Usain Bolt, mate. The adrenaline in my body, I'm so fast.
The adrenaline slows me down. I don't know. I'm a bit like that. I get too nervous.
I got
like,
too nervous and I was laughing, so I couldn't run for laughing. It's not a weirdo.
At least you got away with
This
the
clip shows a mother and her kids quickly packing their belongings in response to an evacuation notice.
What's that?
It happened in Canyon County, California, around the time a wildfire was raging across the area.
Wow.
In the back of the footage, you can see it. Fire and smoke loom over the neighborhood and the hills behind. They pack as fast as they can, but they don't know how much time they have. Eventually, a man runs across the street, warning the family that the fire was coming up.
Everyone evacuate, the fire's coming up!
They finally leave the neighborhood, evacuated to safety at a nearby hotel. A few days later, the fire around the home died down, and they were able to return and survey the damage. Somehow, their house remained untouched, although the same can't be said for others in the neighborhood. Multiple nearby homes were completely destroyed by the fire. This video was uploaded to TikTok in order to warn others to be aware of their surroundings. In the video, the uploader, who was a mother named JoJo, and her son Daniel are returning home late at night. They open the front door and go inside. Once they close the door behind them, a man can be seen in the frame, walking up to the house. He immediately tries opening the door.
Go shower really fast. I need you to go shower.
Jesus.
Please, Daniel. Who's that?
He looks.
He looks high. I was gonna say he looks high. as a
JoJo and
kite,
Daniel
isn't it?
engage in an argument, with JoJo telling him to go shower while he says he's too tired. Yet this doesn't drown out the clear sound of someone grabbing the front door handle only seconds after JoJo had locked it. She looks outside and sees this man. She yells out for him to leave. The man takes one step back, but stays in front of the camera. He doesn't respond, rather just stands there with a blank expression.
Who is that? Get out of here! Get out of here! There's a guy outside. Look.
What a weirdo.
I know. Give me.
It's not known where
goosebumps.
the man came from. It's hard to see with the door blocking the view. Some think he had been following the two all the way back home, while others believe he was camped out next to the home, specifically waiting for them to return. Either way, what he had planned to do if that door was unlocked is unclear. JoJo called the police, but the man was gone by the time they arrived, so it's likely
It's always
we'll
the
never be able
case,
to know
isn't
for
it?
sure.
Yeah.
Just very convenient that he just disappears as
I
soon
know.
as they arrive.
In June of 2021, a woman posted a set of Ring camera videos to the internet. She explained how her mother had recently installed 2 Ring cameras around their house. On one of the first few nights of having the cameras, her phone would get spammed with motion-detected notifications. She reviewed them, and this is what she saw. Some man was walking around the outside of the house. Though, something she picked up on almost right away was how easily he was doing it, like as if he already knew the exact layout of the outside of the house. She worried this wasn't his first time. He would walk around looking in different windows, which included hers. Seeing this, she called the cops and reported it. They later showed up, but by that time the guy was gone. There wasn't much they could do. They basically just told her to keep her blinds, curtains, and windows closed at all times. She rightfully worried he might show up again, so she set up a trap of sorts outside her window. She strung a piece of rope between 2 trees, hoping the man wouldn't see it and would trip over it, making a lot of noise, alerting her of his presence. Disturbingly, exactly a week later at 2 a.m., she would hear someone trip over the rope. Immediately, she pulled out her phone and opened the live camera feed. Standing directly outside of her window looking in was the same man from before.
What's he after?
Don't want to know.
I want to see him trip over the rope.
Yeah.
After she saw this footage, she went up to her mother's room and told her about the man. The two of them went back to the window, opened the curtains, and started banging on the glass to scare the man off. They called the police, but once again, when they arrived, the man was gone. The woman and her mother ended up moving to a new house. They never heard anything more from police, leaving them to believe that he was never caught. This doorbell footage shows the sudden explosion of a home in Arlington, Texas. It was 2 a.m. on January 1st, 2022, when a few houses down, the giant explosion goes off.
Of course. Declan and Gabby have got doorbell footage of two lads walking through the alleyway to the house opposite theirs, and you see them pour petrol on the car and then light it, but the idiot had poured the petrol on and it's gone on his shoe, so when he lit it, it's burnt his foot as well. And you see them on a separate camera on the other side of the house hobbling off, but they've torched a car. You see that video?
I didn't see the video. I just saw the like a photo of it after.
Yeah, no.
And when I went to his house, I could still see the car burn.
Yeah, but
And did they catch who did it?
I don't know. That I think
Well,
was
description. He's got a burnt foot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You'd ring around all the hospitals, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But as I don't come in with like
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's obviously like some sort of a hate crime, isn't it? It's got to be
Yeah.
somebody that's
Yeah,
known
yeah.
to the family.
because you don't just randomly do that.
No, and I'm thinking this is a similar thing.
Is that someone's house or is it a
Yeah.
Looks
car?
like it, doesn't
House,
it?
yeah.
Are these all black and white? Because I swear the camera just caught like colour for a sec when the flame went up. Because like the whole thing's in black and white, but then when it
goes up.
Yeah,
Might
they
be, is it
caught
green?
light.
Let's see.
like there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The explosion was reported to have been caused by a gas appliance that wasn't fully shut off. Fortunately, no one was in the home when it happened.
I thought it was an
In
house.
fact, there were no injuries resulting from the incident. However, the damage was extensive.
Wow.
Not only did the house suffer major structural damage, but flying debris hit nearby buildings as well.
Imagine just coming
Residents in
home
the
to
apartments across the street reported blown out windows from the explosion. Parked vehicles also were damaged. The authorities received multiple calls immediately after the explosion went off. This video was uploaded to TikTok in September of 2022. The uploader said it was about 3 a.m. when his doorbell camera captured a man walking across the street. He walks directly towards the house's front porch and eventually right up to the camera, at which point you can see the man is wearing some kind of mask with a drawn-on mustache.
You've got one of them masks.
Is that the same?
Looks like it.
Is that a mask or just his
I don't.
face?
That doesn't. It doesn't even look like a mask.
No, that's not a mask.
The homeowner eventually woke up from all the notifications on his phone. He sees the man looking inside through his windows and trying to open his door. To this, he immediately threw on some clothes and went outside to confront the man.
What?
He doesn't care, does he?
That's what Darren's like, though.
He's got his golf club.
Yeah. Got his dressing gown on. Darren just had his
He's
pants on.
He's proper going for it.
I guess though in a way it's good to do that, like
Yeah.
For a man though, like as a
When he
woman,
didn't
like
find
you
him,
wouldn't.
he opted to
but,
call the
like,
police and send in a
If I had
report.
bear spray, I would.
Likely nothing came of this. The uploader never gave an update, but considering the man was wearing a mask, he probably won't ever be identified.
The uploader never gave us an update. He's probably killed him. Probably found him in his garden and killed him.
It's probably, he's probably
Who
some-
cares? Just leave it. Don't worry about it now. Jesus.
But the thing is, a lot of people would get absolutely petrified and scared, and then other people, the adrenaline of knowing that somebody's going to try and get into their house, it's like
Yeah,
Darren.
it gets like not my house.
I'm
I'm going
It
out.
gets like, I don't think so. You're not, you know. And
I mean, it's a good way to be, to show them that you're not scared and
yeah,
like.
but it's like I've said, you know, you're going down with a golf club. But what happens if they've got a knife or a gun? You've got no chance.
Yeah, you've got the
No.
reach though.
Yeah,
Element of surprise, I guess. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I love stuff like that.
I
find it
do
really
as well, but it's so
interesting.
scary.
It is.
I know. I was because
Yeah.
we've even got a bloody Ring doorbell cam in our apartment block.
Yeah, but the
On our house in an apartment.
But literally,
no one's gonna, no one
as
can
soon
even
as
get
I
in.
walk in, I lock the door straight away. The door is never unlocked.
Even when I'm like coming in right behind her as well. I'm like, Jesus, I have
Put
to
the chain on
unlock
the
it.
door, sorry, Aidan.
And we're not actually allowed Ring doorbells in our building.
Why is it not?
No,
been-
apparently.
No, it's a what do you call it? What do you call it? Like when you
like privacy thing.
privacy thing, yeah. So everybody else, I mentioned on the group chat on
There's only one other person on our floor though, and he doesn't really.
there
mind,
is, and
does
he
he?
doesn't
Well, yeah,
like, yeah. But the you know.
I think you should be allowed it because it's only in the communal areas that like you all use. It's not
Yeah,
like it's like you're aiming it inside someone's flat.
yeah, I know.
You know,
But
if
not-
anything,
yeah.
it's better.
Yeah, well, I think the reason I've got it is purely because for safety.
Yeah.
Like if somebody tries
Yeah.
to break in.
They can't even get in the actual apartment block though, really.
Well, they can because they broke into the mail room and stole all the parcels.
That was probably a mailman
No, it wasn't.
who gets the code.
I went downstairs once and I went into the mail room, and outside we've got like a door here, and then the mail room goes there, and there's a door that comes out, and I went into the mail room, and there was two lads with like the hoods up stood outside the glass door, and I was just about to push the buzzer to let them in, and then I thought they're not attempting, they're not trying to put a code in, they've not got a swab, so I left it.
Yeah.
And I looked out, and they kind of turned like the back to me, but they were still stood there. They didn't walk off. And I put a message on the group and said, "There's two lads outside the back door. Not sure if they live here. And they were trying to break in. The door had been broken where they tried to force it with a screwdriver, and they were trying to get into the mail room to
Oh my God.
take parcels.
That happened to me as well.
Yeah, they thought you were.
Yeah, I was just stood outside waiting for a taxi, but it was raining, so I was with my mate, and we both like had our hoods up with a black coat on.
Yeah.
And some guy came walking out. I was like, "Can I help you, mate? Can I help you?" And I was like, "Nah, you're alright." And he was like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I live here."
Live here.
Yeah. And he just kept asking me questions, and then next thing you know, in the group chat, they're all in. Two lads standing outside with the hoods up.
Two young
Yeah.
thugs or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why when I seen these two lads outside,
That's the thing you. It's
I
knowing
didn't
what
want
to
to
do.
just presume.
That's what I mean. You don't want to be rude and like if they do actually live there, but then also like you have to use a bit of caution as well.
Yeah, because when we first moved in, there was this young black lad, and he was only probably about 20, 21, but he was dressed like he had shorts on, he had sliders on, and he was in the apartment building. I was like, "Hey, all right?" And he was like, yeah. And then on the group, someone's put, "There's a young black lad in reception," and he was a footballer that moved in.
Oh, was it
Ah.
Played for City, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a
Oh, no
footballer.
way.
But when you looked at him,
He just looked very like
it
casual.
just looked like a teen type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And-
Because he was like 17, 18.
yeah, he was very young, and I guess most of the people in the building were thinking, "How can he afford to live here?"
Yeah.
yeah, not knowing.
But they were judging.
Years. Yeah.
Not knowing he's actually making
Yeah.
more than everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Combined probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Bye.